What's good, everybody? Welcome back into episode 22 of the Rundown Podcast. We know you guys missed us. We got Noah.
What up? What up?
We got Destin in the building.
I'm back.
And then we got JP.
What's up? What's up?
And we got a lot to cover, a lot to get into. First and foremost, Texas dominating Oklahoma this past weekend. Alabama versus Tennessee preview. After that, we got NFL, the biggest surprises and disappointments when it comes to teams in the NFL. And then week 6 predictions of the NFL. And then last but not least, the Draymond Green versus Jordan Poole controversy that's been buzzing on social media this past week. So first, we'll open up with Texas versus Oklahoma. What were you guys' biggest takeaways from the game and thoughts that you had after the 49-0 shutout that Texas had?
Yeah, it's the Red River showdown turned into the Red River beatdown. Texas got Quinn Ewers back. Offense is looking good. Oklahoma's trash. So that's my thoughts on that game.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I'm a big Quinn Ewers guy. I knew he had the sauce, and Sark, big fan of him. Best offensive mind in college right now. And Brent Venables has not been able to turn that defense around, which is why they hired him. So I think Oklahoma's done nothing but go backwards since he's got there, and Texas is on the uprise. Like I said, Texas is about to be back.
You were saying they were back officially
They back.
during
They
the
back.
offseason.
They back. They would be ranked number one right now if their quarterback stayed healthy, but
Yeah, but yeah, my takeaways from the game. I'm not going to be too quick to judge Brent Venables. He's in his first year, obviously, so he's still got a lot of time to turn that program around. Nick Saban struggled at Alabama his first year. It's not a overnight process when you're trying to turn around a program in college football. It's going to take time, and we've seen this past week. He's got a lot to fix on that Oklahoma team. They've given up 52 points per game in the last 2 weeks to TCU and Texas. So they've got a lot of work to do when it comes to that defense. Brent Venables is going to have to up that recruiting. He's going to have to find some guys on that side of the ball to improve that defense. In terms of Quinn Ewers, though, really impressed with what I saw from him. 4 touchdown passes this past week. Xavier Worthy coming out there balling, one of the best wideouts in the nation right now. Bijan Robinson doing his thing. I mean, the run game, everything Texas had going for them, they really looked impressive this weekend, and I think it's a huge difference having Quinn Ewers running that offense opposed to their backup quarterback. When you got Quinn Ewers in there, it just seems like the offense is flowing, and it's as good as any other offense in the nation. So, really impressed with what I saw though from Texas, and I was on the train with Destin about Quinn Ewers. I didn't say he was in the Heisman race like Destin, but I was very optimistic about Quinn Ewers heading the offense and really impressed with everything that I saw this weekend in his return.
oh, real quick, it's funny how he said, my man's Eli said that Brent Venables is a process to turn them around when he's literally just turned them around. Like he's turned them around from being Big
Yeah,
12 basically champions every year to not competing. Go ahead, JP.
yeah. I was trying to figure out what Eli was trying to make of that analogy with Saban, considering when Bama was actually a mediocre program before Saban got there. Yeah, Oklahoma was an 11-win team, made it to 2 to 3 college football playoffs, and now Venables has made the team worse. So really, he turned it around in a bad way, but it ain't like he came from a bad situation and he has to try to up it. It's like it was already up and he's making it go down. So I don't really understand that analogy. But yeah, Texas is Texas. They look really solid. I like the way that they look. They're definitely on the rise. They're not bad just yet, but I think give them 2 years and they will be.
I love you, Eli, bro. You know I love you, bro.
Eli
And
just
Jay
knows he getting that up.
and Jalen's all cozied up with that blanket and that coffee.
You know,
Boy, looking like he
Yeah,
ready to go
my
to sleep.
Ain't no coffee in there.
yeah, my only thing with that point that I made about Brent Venables and the defense was, take Oklahoma had like half of their impact players this past year transfer out of the program. So obviously, when you got Caleb Williams, when you've got one of your best wide receivers transfer to Arkansas, they already had a bad defense as it is. So I don't think it's much of a surprise that they didn't play that good against Texas. But They did have some of their best players on the whole entire team transfer out of that program before he came in. So that's the only reason I say that. But
that's valid.
Okay.
But yeah, and then, next up, probably the biggest matchup in college football this coming week, Tennessee versus Alabama. This is going to be where game day is going to be headed to for this upcoming weekend. Probably one of the most anticipated games leading up to this point in the season. Tennessee's been playing some great football, led by Hendon Hooker, and then of course Alabama being the big name program that they are coming into Tennessee. It's been 15 years since Tennessee's been able to get a win against Alabama in the third Saturday of October rivalry. So, what's you guys' thoughts going into that game, and what do you expect to see?
To me, this all depends on if Bryce Young can play or not, because this is the best Tennessee team that I remember seeing. Because I mean, if it's been 15 years since they beat Bama, that means I was 5 years old last time they beat Bama. So I mean, this is the best Tennessee team I've seen that I can remember. And with this being at Neyland Stadium, and Bama's kind of banged up right now at the quarterback position, and I think if Bryce Young doesn't play, it makes Bama very, very vulnerable to an upset. I just hate how we might be getting robbed of the Young Hooker duel that this might be on Saturday.
That's crazy.
I mean, all jokes aside, these are two of the best quarterbacks in the nation. If Bryce was healthy, this would be a showdown. But I think if Bryce doesn't play, I think Tennessee takes this matchup in Neyland Saturday.
I mean, I perfectly agree with everything you said. I think that if Bryce plays, this has a chance to be like the game of the year type game, like a candidate for that. Kind of like Burrow Tua 2019, something like that. And if he was to beat a Bryce like that, it could put Tennessee on another level where they're like really like playoff contenders, which I think we all think they're trying to kind of put themselves in that conversation already. But Jalen Milroe, for him to go on the road, I would be shocked if he was able to go on the road and keep up with an offense like Tennessee. We barely got the dub at home against Texas A&M, and their mid team, especially on offense. So it all, like Noah said, it all comes down to whether Bryce Young plays. And I think Bryce Young doesn't guarantee Alabama the win. It just makes it a fair game almost for me. But
I've been saying this was an upset alert game even before Bryce Young got hurt, just because it's at Tennessee, and Tennessee's team looks pretty solid this year, especially on offense.
Yeah, I got to agree. Without Bryce in this game, I think Alabama is really vulnerable, as Noah said. If Bryce not playing, then that means the defense has to play absurd going into this matchup. I don't think they're completely out of it without Bryce, but I would have Tennessee as the favorites in this game without Bryce, from what we saw this past weekend. But I really hope to see Bryce Young, though, in this matchup. This is, if he was able to, get back to being fully healthy and to be able to play against Tennessee, that, as Destin was touching on, that might be maybe the game of the year in the regular season in terms of college football. I think there's so much that is dependent on this game. I think this has college football playoff implications in terms for Tennessee. I know Tennessee fans are really excited going into this matchup. So if Tennessee is able, depending on if Bryce is healthy or not, this is going to be a really big opportunity for Tennessee nevertheless. So really looking forward to that matchup. I'm hoping we get Bryce Young for this week, just so nobody on either side has any excuses going into the game. And it's going to, it's set up to be a really great matchup.
Yeah, we all agree on this one. I mean, if Mr. Jalen's in, it's an L. I'm saying right now, if he started, it's an L. I ain't even giving it's gonna be an L. He did not look good against A&M. Now, granted, Tennessee defense is not good, but I just don't trust him being able to make reads consistent and to go into a hostile environment like Tennessee and win a game. I just can't see it. So I think we all agree on this one. If Bryce plays, it's still tough, but I would lean towards Bama. Only if Bryce plays, though.
And we gotta remember, Bryce wouldn't even be 100%. So we don't even know.
The only thing the only thing that Bryce would bring to this game, even if he's not 100%, is the decision making that Jalen Milroe does not have. Jalen Milroe, he holds the ball too long. I get he's young. I don't want to hop on him too harsh, but he holds the ball too long in the pocket, which causes strip sacks, which we saw in the Texas A&M game. He throws some deep shots every now and then that end up getting picked off just because he throws in double coverage, and that's the kind of stuff that you can't have in a top 10 matchup, especially away. And I think if he plays, I think you're going to see a lot of that again because Texas A&M's defense isn't that good either, and he had 4 turnovers against them. So, I think that Bama's only chance at winning this game, if Bryce doesn't play, is if this defense has got to cause some turnovers and get that Tennessee offense off the field quick, because this Bama offense, from what I saw against Texas A&M, can't really move the ball consistently when you need them to.
And Gibbs will have to run for like 250, 270.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the problem is
I think
secondary didn't look good against Texas, so I don't trust them against the Tennessee offense that could possibly have their best receiver back as well. So I'm not liking that. I'm not liking Kool-Aid McKinstry chances against any of those Tennessee wide receivers.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, nevertheless, I think either way, it's going to be a great matchup. I obviously think Alabama's chances of winning decrease with Jalen Milroe starting at quarterback, but we know what that defense is capable of. I think Alabama's defense won them that game this past weekend when it comes to them against Texas A&M, and it's going to be great to see one of the best defenses in the nation take head against one of the best offenses in the nation. And Tennessee's been really hot offensively. And defensively, Alabama's been holding up and doing a great job defensively. So that's going to be a really good matchup. So looking forward to that one. Let's assume that Bryce is healthy. What's you guys' pick for that game?
Yeah, assuming Bryce is healthy, I'd take Bama just because the turnover margin might be a lot more in Bama's favor if Bryce plays.
I'll take Tennessee still.
What about you, JP?
I'm gonna take Bama. I think Bryce.
Bama.
Bama about
I think that. Yeah, I think it'll be close, and if Bryce plays, I think Alabama is able to run away with this one late in the game. But it's going to be a really good game. We're just going to have to. I think it kind of really all depends on whether Bryce is cleared to play or not. So we'll just have to wait and see with that. But shifting over in football, over to the National Football League, we got some of our biggest surprises and disappointments when it comes to, through 5 weeks of the NFL season. To you guys, who's been the teams that have surprised you the most, and what team has disappointed you the most? If you had to choose one from each side going into this year so far.
I'd say record wise, it's my biggest surprise is the Giants, because everyone was writing them off at the beginning of the year. All the videos from their training camp of their receivers giving zero effort, especially their highest paid receiver in Kenny Golladay. Looks like he just could care less to be there. And so, also with the first year head coach, you never know what the Giants are going to be. Daniel Jones question marks, Saquon Barkley health question marks. There was just a lot of questions about the Giants going into this year, and so far, I mean, they're 4-1. You can't deny that. And so I mean, I think that's been my biggest surprise record wise. Also, the Seahawks have surprised me with how their offense has looked with Geno Smith. It's actually looking pretty solid, like they can compete in the league. But biggest disappointment has been, I'd say the Raiders, just because of all the offseason moves they made between Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones. Josh Jacobs has been able to consistently put up good rushing numbers this year, but they still cannot put out wins. And it's sad to see because in I think 2 of their games now, they had a significant lead and they choked it away in a comeback, in which I know Patrick Mahomes' trademark is, I mean, you go into the second half on any lead in Patrick Mahomes, it's not safe. So But the Raiders have just been very disappointing. 1-4 with that roster is terrible.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna stay in the same divisions as him. The biggest surprise, I would have picked my Giants, but I let Noah have that, so I'm gonna go with the Cowboys with Cooper Rush. I mean, after week 1, I thought their season was over when Dak went out. I thought it was done with the way they looked up, going up against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in that first game. And Cooper Rush has done nothing but win. He's been undefeated for every game he started. And the Cowboys defense is one of the best in the whole NFL right now, with Parsons being one of the best defensive players in the whole NFL right now. So they've shocked me. I wrote them off, and they got the NFC East looking like the NFC beast. And as far as disappointment, NFC West, I've got to go with Russell Wilson, $245 million man, those Broncos. Him and Hackett, I mean, we were predicting them to be able to compete with the Chiefs, compete with the Chargers, compete with the best teams in the AFC. And they just been disappointing ever since week 1. The offense looks putrid. Defense is probably the brightest spot. They've been able to get a little pressure on the quarterback, and Tenn is turning into right now. I think he's playing like a top 3 corner in the NFL right now. But yeah, you just expect a lot more out of a guy like Russ, which I knew he was on the decline, but I didn't know he was going to dive straight down. So those are my 2 picks.
Yeah, I think with me, I got to agree with Destin on this. I think the Cowboys are my biggest surprise. I thought automatically after Dak Prescott went down, I thought the Cowboys season and their chances of even having a shot at making the playoffs was over. But they've proven me wrong. They've went 4-0 with Cooper Rush starting. Now, obviously, that defense is elite and playing even better than what they were last year. But the Cowboys were a surprise to me. I didn't think that they would be playing this good up to this point. And Cooper Rush is, he's been able to manage the game. He's been able to make some really good passes. They're sitting at 4-1 right now. So they're right up there at the top of their division, just a game behind the Eagles right now. So they're still, even without Dak, they're still in contention to, make some noise in that division. And then as for the most disappointing team, this one's pretty tough. There's several teams. I think, the Broncos, the Rams are disappointing, but the biggest disappointment to me, given the expectations, are the Saints. I think the Saints are the most disappointing team in the league up to this point. Crab legs, he got benched for Andy Dalton. Obviously, he's got some injury problems going on, but I know we had 2 people, Destin and Jalen in particular, saying they were going to win the division and outduel Tom Brady, but the Saints, given that they've got Michael Thomas coming back, given that they drafted a wide receiver in Chris Olave, given that they've still got Alvin Kamara, they've still got probably one of the most elite defenses going into the year. And now that I think they're sitting at 2-3 or 1-4 right now.
2-3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe it's 2-3. Been a bit disappointed with the Saints. Given they've got all the weapons offensively. One of their best wide receivers came back. He was a stud a few years back, Michael Thomas. I was expecting a little bit more from the Saints team, and they've really disappointed me up to this point. I didn't have them winning the division, but I did have them in a close race with the Buccaneers and in the NFC South. But the Falcons are looking just as good as the Saints are right now. So that's been a bit of an issue. And, I think given all that's happened up to this point, and the expectations going into preseason, I think the Saints are the most disappointing team.
Yeah, for me, biggest disappointment, it got in the Raiders and the Broncos. The Raiders can't find a way to win those games, and the Broncos just look like just a complete shell of themselves. You pay Russell Wilson for the next 6 years. Patrick Mahomes type money, just not delivering it. I don't like the play calls from Hackett. It just does not look good for Broncos. Their offense looks stagnant too much, and it's just not a lot of bright side for them. And the Raiders, they're just not able to win close games. I mean, they can't. What will go on with them. So I don't like either of those teams. Now, when it comes to a team that I wasn't expecting to do solid this year, I would say the Jags. the Jags have played better than I thought they would. Trevor Lawrence has improved. I like their defense. So I would say the Jaguars will be a team that I was surprised by.
Yeah, I don't know why y'all. I mean, it's still the season's still early as far as the Saints. I wouldn't completely write them off. They have underwhelmed a little bit, but it's still time for them. They're only a game behind the Bucks. I think there's still time for them to turn their season around.
I think an honorable mention for a surprising team is I brought it up a little bit earlier is the Seahawks, man. I mean,
That's facts.
everybody wrote them off. Geno Smith ain't right back. So I mean, he's slinging that rock, man. I mean, because that game that he had against the Saints, I mean, I was watching that game. He was making some throws that if his last name was Allen or Mahomes, he would be posting that everywhere. But since it's Geno Smith, everybody's like, it's fluke. It's just like one of these little games. He'll be trashed the rest of the year. I mean, but that's really 3 games this year so far, 5 weeks in, that he has looked very impressive. And I think he single-handedly like dueled in that game for the Seahawks. Like without Geno Smith, they would have never been in that game.
Yeah, I got to agree. Geno Smith's been looking incredible up to this point. When he's dropped back in the pocket, he's looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league when it comes to his passes. These past few weeks, at least, not in his career overall, but these past few weeks, though, he's been throwing some dimes. I mean, dime after dime, and he's we were all. I know I was. I don't know about you guys. I was expecting the Seahawks to be a bottom 5 team in the NFL. And
of course.
And they've exceeded expectations by miles up to this point. I believe they're either 2-3 or 3-2 right now, one of the two. But I wasn't expecting them to get this many wins up at this point in the year, and they've really been impressing me.
Yeah, and this also confirms that Russell Wilson just is not it, because Eli was one of the backups. You know, him saying that his O-line was not good. I don't think Geno has that much of a better O-line, and Geno's playing really solid ball. So I think this confirms, if anything, that Russell Wilson is not that guy.
No, it definitely does. Since we taking shots at people, Eli wanted to throw a couple shots at me and JP, and JP had to get back at Eli. It's not on the dock today, but I had to announce because I rep the Patriots as well. You know what I'm saying? And they with a third string quarterback, they skunked the team that I was laughing when they compared Detroit to New England. I was laughing at these guys. And this Sunday with a third string quarterback, they got 29-0? 29-0?
Dude, some of these Lions fans, they were talking about Bailey Zappi because that's the third string quarterback that was just dotting them up. They started calling him Zaddy because of that game.
That's crazy. That's another level of wilder.
Hold on. He's trying to. Hold on, start over, JP. Start over, JP.
Yeah.
JP, say what you said again.
Swift playing, all right, because you acting like the Detroit Lions offense is healthy. Swift didn't play. Rock out for injury last week, so relax on that. I understand the Patriots played great defense, give them credit, but they didn't play a Lions team that was healthy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you right. I give you that, but 29-0 is crazy.
They won fully, bro.
I mean, Jalen. I mean, if you're talking about the Lions offense not being healthy, man, I mean, the Patriots offense wasn't either. They didn't have Mac Jones or Brian Hoyer. Damian Harris got hurt earlier in the game.
I know the Lions defense is trash, but I expect Lions to outscore people. That's the way they win their games. They have to play Big 12 football in the NFL because their offensive defense is literally giving up. They're scoring 35 and giving up 35. So I'm not expecting the defense to ever play good. I don't care if they play Alabama college football. That's just what they go do on defense. So no show on defense. But I also expect them to be able to score 35 to 40. And that's not able to happen if Swift's not playing and Amon Ross not fully healthy, in my opinion.
You're right. We'll be able to see more of who the Patriots really are in the next coming weeks. I think if Mac Jones is healthy, they go in Green Bay and they steal that game too. And we're looking at this entire thing completely differently.
No.
Well, no, they just played the Green Bay Packers. And
that's what I'm saying. If Mac Jones would have played, I think they would have won that game.
Mac's not going to be healthy.
No, but I'm saying they barely lost to Green Bay with a third string quarterback. And I think they'd be 3-2. We'd be looking at this whole Patriots thing completely differently. But let's move on.
I'm still looking at the Patriots the same.
Yeah. So, and then now we'll be getting into some of our Week 6 predictions going into this next week in the NFL. What's the first matchup that we got on slate? When y'all got that pulled up?
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about the Chiefs Bills Sunday afternoon game. It's probably going to be the game of the week. Both are 4-1 teams. Both arguably the best team in the AFC. You can make an argument for both. The game's in Arrowhead, so it's an interesting matchup as far as how it's going to go down. I think the Chiefs not having Tyreek Hill is finally going to show face in this game, and only having Travis Kelce as your number one option when you have Juju Smith-Schuster and Valdez-Scantling as your other receivers. I think I speak for everybody in saying that people thought that Juju was going to do more this year under this Chiefs offense. So far, he hasn't really done anything. Scantling's been okay, and Kelsey's been him. I mean, he's always been him. But I think with the Chiefs not having Tyreek Hill to compare to what's the word I'm looking for? To pair with Kelsey in this game is going to really hurt them. It's going to finally show face. So I'm going to take the Bills in this game. Bills are healthy offensively. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders right now with Allen, Diggs, and Gabe Davis in that last game. I think the Bills are just too hot. They're going to be motivated to go in there and get one back on the Chiefs from that last year, from how their season ended last year. So I'm going to take the Bills in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously got this game at home. This is a tough one to pick because, dang, Eli just gonna leave and not tell nobody.
Eli said, I'm gonna head out.
This is a tough one to pick because Mahomes, he's making a lot of wild plays, but he's sharing the ball a lot more than he did in times past. Like he's spreading the ball to a lot of receivers. I think 9 different receivers caught the ball on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
I think Mahomes is evolving, and but you got Josh Allen on the other side, and the Bills have a better defense. So it's tough. I think the Bills are going to be very up for this game, kind of how the Chiefs were to get back at Tampa. I think the Bills want to get back at the Chiefs for what happened last year in last year's playoff game. And I think that the Bills are going Arrowhead still this game, and then the Chiefs will get them back in the playoffs when it matters most.
I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs. Mahomes is that guy. Noah did mention that the offense is healthy, but the secondary is not. So you don't have both like they Buffalo usually does. Now Von Miller's gonna put pressure on the quarterback as always. But I like the Chiefs to squeak it out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close. Obviously, with it being an Arrowhead, that just makes it that much more difficult. We know how tough of a place it is to play there. I got to agree with Noah on this one, though. I got the Bills in this one. I think for once we're going to see the repercussions of Tyreek Hill not being present for the Chiefs, and that's going to shine light in this game. Obviously, the Bills are a little banged up, but I think Josh Allen in that offense will be able to produce enough, and they'll be able to outscore the Chiefs in this one. But it'll be a close one, though. I think it's definitely going to be game of the week, and I expect both teams to come out firing.
See, I think Kansas City's going to try to run the ball on Buffalo. I think they're going to try to punch it down the throat a little bit more than we're used to.
Right, and then what's next matchup we got for Week 6 of the NFL? Who do we got?
Possibly. I mean, this is in my opinion, it's going to be the second best game of the week. It could end up being the game of the week. Cowboys Eagles. 5-0 Eagles at home versus the 4-1 Cowboys with Cooper Rush, possibly Dak, but probably Cooper Rush still. So you've got the two undefeated starters in the league right now going at it. If Cooper Rush plays, I think the Eagles they're just so hard to beat right now. Even though they squeaked one out against Arizona last week, the Eagles, man, they're doing exactly what me and Jalen said preseason of what we thought these Eagles would look like. Their defense is on fire, and their offense, like relying on that run game along with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And Dallas Goedert is a top 5 tight end in the league right now. And he is – I mean, the Eagles, man, and Jalen Hurts is playing – he's having an MVP season. I'm taking the Eagles in this matchup. I mean, if you look at the Eagles' schedule, dude, I mean, they literally might start the season 10-0.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta agree with Noah again on this one. I got the Eagles. I think it's gonna be low scoring though. I think the Dallas Cowboys, they've got the best defense that the Eagles are gonna face up to this point in the season. It's gonna be low scoring. I feel like I'll take the Eagles in this one, like 17-14 though. I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, and you need a touchdown or you need a game winning drive, I think the Eagles offense is gonna be able to give them that, that extra push going into this one. And it's going to be I think it's going to be close, but I think the Eagles are going to be able to edge out the Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys? The Eagles going to get their first loss. Y'all know I love Jalen Hurts. I'm a Eagles fan for the time being because I'm really a Giants fan. So it's tough for me to pick this game because I got rivalries and I got loved ones on the other side.
How can you be Giants and Eagles fan? That's like complete opposite.
It's because Jalen Hurts is Papi Chulo. Like, we love Jalen Hurts.
Hey, I agree with you on that. I'm with you on that.
I love Jalen Hurts, man. I love what he stands for. He always a clubhouse guy, and I'm just a big fan of him for what he did at Bama. I can't help but want to see the kid win every time I see him go out there in that field and fight a war. But I think they'll get their first L of the season. I think Cooper Rush and them, they'll keep unless Dak play. If Dak plays, the Eagles win. I think when Dak comes back, the Cowboy season goes downhill because it's gonna mess up momentum, and that's just some Cowboys. You know how the Cowboys work, but I think they'll steal this game.
I got the Eagles. The Eagles, are Super Bowl contenders, as I said preseason.
Say it.
And they're making me look good. They're making me look good. So I'm not hopping out the bandwagon this week. I picked them to lose last week, and the Cardinals let me down. So I'm going back towards the Eagles this week.
Kyler slid too early. I mean, if he'd kept running, they get out of an OT.
It's sold. But that's what the Cardinals games.
All right. Well, next matchup. I mean, the rest of these games aren't as a hot topic as the two we were talking about. But the Ravens-Giants game, this is going to be at New York. Obviously, the Giants are 4-1. So they're looking good. They're looking way better than everyone in the world thought they would be 5 weeks to this season. The Ravens, they're coming off a win on a game-winning field goal by the GOAT, Justin Tucker. I think Lamar Jackson is going to run through this defense so easily. They got J.K. Dobbins back. They're possibly getting Gus Edwards back for this game. So, I mean, the Ravens' run game going to obliterate that Giants' defense. So, yeah, I'm taking Lamar and the Ravens in this matchup.
Saquon. I think we got magic in New York, man. I'm picking the Giants, bro. Danny Dimes. Daniel Jones is managing the game well. Brian Daboll is just
he's got them boys playing right now.
He's lit a fire under us, bro. So I think we'll continue. I think winning last week was so big to knock off a Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay. I think they'll carry that into this week. They'll find a way to stop Lamar enough. Lamar be inaccurate on a couple throws, and Saquon's going to take over the game.
Yeah, as Lee Corso would say, not so fast. I got the Ravens, man. I got the Ravens. I think obviously I'm impressed with how good the Giants have been able to play up to this point, but I think the Ravens are the best team the Giants have faced up to date going into this week. Like Noah said, Lamar's going to have a field day on them. They're getting J.K. Dobbins back. That defense was really balling out against the Bengals on top of that as well. I think the Ravens string together another win, and going into preseason, I had them winning the NFC North, and I think they're going to start to get a roll going here for a little bit. So give me the Ravens.
Yeah, I got the Ravens too. Ravens, these are games Ravens should win. They tend to – I think they've had a lead in every game this year. and they found a way to like let teams come back in it. So as long as they have the business like they should win this game by double digits. They're a better team.
Yeah. All right, next up on the docket, we got here the Cardinals at Seahawks. Geno Smith, we brought him up earlier. He's playing out of his mind right now. He's having the best season so far he's had in his entire career. Cardinals are still trying to find that groove offensively. They kind of tend to start off games slow, and then they'll find a way in the second half to put up some points and make it a game. This was at Seattle. I just don't see a way that the Cardinals lose this game, but I mean, at the same time, I feel like Kyler Murray could throw a pick six early, and then the Seahawks jump out on a lead. But the Seahawks, they lost Rashad Penny for the season last week. They're already out Jamal Adams. So I think the Cardinals are going to take this game. I don't see a way that the Seahawks outscore the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, Geno's been doing his thing, but I think Kyler's gonna make a couple more plays, and he'll extend some plays with his legs, and they'll pull it out in the end. I got the Cardinals.
Yeah, this one's tough. This one's tough to pick, man. Both teams have kind of been up and down. Seahawks, Geno Smith obviously has been looking really good lately. I'm really tempted to pick the Seahawks. Where's this game being played at?
Seattle.
It's in Seattle.
Man.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks, man. I got the 12th man and Geno Smith coming out on top in this one. I think it's going to be close, obviously. I think it might be in the mid-20s, low 30s, but I think the Seahawks find a way to pull it out some way, somehow. I know the Cardinals look better on paper. But I think them having this game at home, and I think with the groove that Geno Smith is in right now, and they were able to get Kenneth Walker in a groove also last week as well. I think that they're going to be able to get him implemented more into the offense, and they're going to be able to find a little bit of a groove in this game. Cardinals don't have that good of a defense, so I'll take the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks too. I don't. The Cardinals, I just don't trust the Cardinals. I'm tired of picking them, and they let me down. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
Gotcha. We got the Vikings at the Dolphins. This is obviously, if Tua plays, this is going to be a really good game. Right now, there's not really much talking about. They've been saying past week or so that Tua's got a good chance to play, but then as of the last couple of days, he still hasn't participated in football activities. So it's looking like Teddy Bridgewater is going to be taking the starting snaps in that game, which means I'm picking against my Dolphins. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings in this matchup. They got Dalvin Cook. He got on a roll last week with the 2 touchdowns. Obviously, Justin Jefferson on an injured Dolphins secondary right now as far as cornerbacks go. I think if Tua doesn't play, I'm taking the Vikings just because the Dolphins offensively, you can tell the difference in efficiency whenever Tua's on the field and whenever Teddy's on the field. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I got the Vikings as well. I think Kirkman can finally string together some wins for a little bit before they start going downhill. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, give me Minnesota too. I don't trust Teddy Two Gloves to really run the offense as efficient as Tua would be. That's a huge downgrade in my opinion. But the Vikings, they've been making me look good up to this point. And, I think they keep it going. I think they're able to get a win against the Dolphins this week. So I got the skull up.
Yeah, I got the Vikings. I think, with this said, this is the time to get the wins before they start playing those close games and finding a way to lose them because that's what the Vikings do. But I do fully expect them to win this game.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask y'all, I wasn't going to bring this game up, but the way the Jets have played recently, they're kind of clicking, and they scored 40 points on the Dolphins defense last week, which I did not expect that, but it happened. So they go to Green Bay, and the Packers have not looked the best. Like they have their moments where they look okay in the run game, but you can tell Aaron Rodgers still does not trust his receivers, and that's making their offense kind of be stagnant at times. So what do y'all think in this Jets at Packers matchup, the way the Jets are clicking right now and the Packers aren't?
I think the Jets will get humbled. Green Bay has to win. They have to bounce back. They can't lose to those two New York teams back to back. That's just not that they can't have that happen. Matt LaFleur has a great win percent. He's won like 80% of the games since he's been there. So I think they'll get back on track. Aaron to continue to build some chemistry with some of these receivers, and they'll find a way. They got to find a way to be consistent throughout all fourth quarters on the offensive side. I think last week, I woke up early to watch some of that game. They should have tried to run the ball. They had 2 attempts. It was short yardage downs. I know you want to put it in the air 10, but your run game is you got one of the best running back combos in the entire NFL. Let them try to get 1 yard. So I think they'll run it more and Aaron to make some plays, and I think the Jets will be humbled a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, with that matchup, it's tough. I would lean Green Bay. Now, obviously, they're looking really shaky right now. Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust anybody when it comes to passing the ball. But I think with it being at home at Lambeau Field, I think Green Bay has the edge in that one. But yeah, this is a big problem that Green Bay is going to have to adjust, and they're going to have to address at some point, is the fact that they don't have any reliable wide receivers right now. I mean, Romeo Doubs, he's had 1 or 2 really good weeks. Christian Watson, he's still unproven up to this point. Tanyan, he's been okay, but he hasn't been what they've needed him to be up to this point. Really, the only thing they got going for that offense is the run game, as Destin touched on. One of the best, probably I would argue the best running back duo in the NFL up to this point, with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. So I think they'll rely on that run game, and I think they'll be able to do just enough to beat the Jets.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Jets in this game. I like what I've seen from the Jets past 2 weeks, especially last week. They beat my team very easily, which shocked me. I thought Dolphins defense was going to be able to handle them, but they didn't. But I like how the Jets are playing, and I don't like how the Packers have looked recently. I think the Jets are going to steal one in Green Bay.
I got Green Bay. This is just a game you got to figure out. You got to find a way to win it. Whether it's forcing turnovers or whether it's their run game, they got to find a way to win the game. I just don't see them losing back-to-back week, basically losing to the Jets. They can't do that.
Noah, things aren't looking good for you. If things go the way you predict them this week, your Dolphins are gonna get behind the Jets.
Yeah, man.
The Bills.
Yeah, they're gonna be third in the AFC East. I mean, they're already. They already are third in the AFC East right now because the Jets beat them last week. So, if Dolphins fall to 3-3, we're gonna have to get Tua back quick to make up some ground, because I mean this next stretch of games that Dolphins have aren't easy. So, with Teddy Bridgewater back there taking snaps, you can't just be putting yourself behind the 8 ball to win games every week if you expect to make playoffs with this roster. But anyways, we got Buccaneers at Steelers. Kenny Pickett's got that offense moving the ball more than Mitch Trubisky did. It's obvious that the Steelers receivers want Pickett back there throwing the rock. But against that Buccaneers defense, I'm taking the Bucs to take a win at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I got the Bucs as well. I'm sick. Tom Brady got that cakewalk of a schedule coming up. Bucs.
Yeah, I got Bucs easy in this one. I think this one might even be a blowout. That Steelers offensive line almost got Kenny Pickett killed last week in his first ever start. So I don't trust that O-line to get anything going for that offense. That Bucs defense is as good as any other defense in the league. And now that Godwin is back and everybody's healthy for the most part, that Bucs offense is going to start to find a rhythm. And I think this is a week where they can, get some momentum going. So I got the Bucs winning for the second straight week.
Yeah, I think we all agree on this. So I got the Bucs too. I love it because I got Fournette. Completely just tear Steelers apart this coming week. But yeah, there's no way Tampa shouldn't win this game.
I hate it because they should have lost last week, bro. They were about to choke that game away, and then they gave Tom Brady that bogus of a roughing the passer call.
Yeah, I've kind of got mixed feelings about that because, like, I know you guys know this. I don't know if our viewers know it. I'm kind of at a crossroads between wanting the Falcons to tank and then wanting us to actually be good. And we actually had an opportunity there to late in the game to have an opportunity to win, but we would have had a 3-and-out. But then they called a roughing the passer over nothing. So, yeah, that was a question. That was probably it. Just goes to show how soft football is now compared to what it used to be a decade ago.
Like literally, I've never seen a roughing the passer call on a sack on a quarterback when the quarterback still has the ball in his hands. I mean, that's just like crazy to me. The same thing happened to Mahomes or to Derek Carr last night. And the Chiefs got a strip sack, literally stripped the ball and sacked Derek Carr, but gets called a roughing the passer. Like, where were these calls a few weeks ago? Whenever Tua gets slammed to the ground 2 weeks in a row after the throw. So I mean.
Yeah,
I think the NFL is really trying to cover their ground because of how bad they messed up with Tua. They're just trying to be super strict now, and even to the point where quarterbacks still have the ball in their hands, they still can't get sacked.
Yeah, it's really bad. I think that they have to understand it's a dangerous sport. These guys know what they signed up for. You can protect them as much as you can, but if you overdo it, it's not even football anymore, right? So you have to know that terrible things can happen sometime, and you do your best to avoid them, but you can't completely change everything about the sport, or else it won't be football anymore.
Yeah, there was a quote that Joe Burrow came out with this past week, and he was saying how most second halves that he plays, he doesn't even remember, and he referenced how most of the time, like, these are 300-pound linemen, these are grown men, 300 plus pounds, going after you, taking you down, sacking you 2 to 3 times a week. So, I mean, at some point, if you're the NFL, you just got to realize, I mean, I think we all agree on this. We all want to keep the players as safe as possible. Like, you obviously don't want to see a situation go down like with what happened with Tua, but I mean, contact is inevitable in football. Like, there's gonna be some physical plays. So that's part of the game too. I mean, if a player makes a really good play and it's a big hit, you got to give them props for it. Not every play is a dirty play, but in that rare occasion, there are a couple times where a player is unfortunate and, there's some helmet-to-helmet contact. There's some extra stuff that goes on in the play too. So you got to take that into account as well. If you're the NFL, you can't just throw a flag on every single big-time play or big hit play made by a defensive lineman.
Right.
Joe Burrow,
like, you go ahead.
No, I was just saying Joe Burrow loves to act like he likes to get hit, bro. Stop. Your O-line stinks. You better hope they get it right before you. He's already had one major knee surgery. I don't know why he thinks it's cool to get hit, bro. It's not. Go ahead.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't. When he say it was cool to get hit?
Is that what he was saying?
Well, he was just saying. I was just referencing. He made a quote and he was saying how in a lot of he doesn't remember a lot of the second halves of games.
What does that even mean?
I think he was kind of making the point that it was like those type of plays, getting hit is just a part of the game. I think that was kind of what he was referencing. It
is, but like, bro, Joe, because I've heard a lot of Joe Burrow rhetoric in terms of him trying to be okay with getting hit and stuff, and I just feel like it's not cool to get hit in his,
He has to defend his teammates. I mean, he can throw. Oh my God, my offensive line is absolutely terrible. He could say that, but I mean, nobody would care.
He don't have to say that. I'm just saying.
What is he supposed to say?
It depends on what they asked him. The question was. I feel like he was going out. I feel like he just spoke on that. I don't know the context of this, so I could be completely out of line. But I think he was just speaking out on the roughing the passer, like what's been going on, and he's like, trying to act like it's not that big a deal when he gets hit. When they all know it hurts when you get hit. He doesn't want to get hit.
See, like, it's like that new rule that the NFL implemented because of this whole Tua situation is if a player goes down and goes into the concussion testing, then he's automatically out for the game at the bare minimum, even if he passes the concussion protocols. And we saw that already show face. It just happened to be the Dolphins again. The first play of the game, Teddy Bridgewater takes a hit after the throw, and he kind of gets up slowly, but he had like no signs of like walking gingerly anywhere near Tua did against the Bills in that game. But he went into the concussion test, ends up passing the concussion protocol, but has to sit out the rest of the game, and the Dolphins have to play the Jets on their third string quarterback just because of this new rule, which I don't agree with, because I think if a player passes concussion protocol, he can go back in the game. Like into a situation, yes, it kind of went bad because they failed his concussion test. Like, if you do the concussion test wrong and the player has a concussion, obviously don't put him back in the game. But if he passes concussion tests and protocols, like, sometimes players can just get hit, and they kind of just they kind of just like see stars for a minute. That mean they have a concussion.
I thought Tua passed the test.
No, he did, but then he did, but it came out later that the guy doing the test had mistakes, and Tua did play on a concussion after further testing. But I'm saying, like, if they're legit, do not have a concussion, but you're going to still make them sit out the rest of the game, like, I think that's dumb, because sometimes players can just take big hits. Like, it's part of football.
As much as I hate that they can't play, and I sometimes want that player to play, sometimes you don't. It's not black and white when somebody has a concussion, so they have to err on the side of caution, because you don't want any situation like what just happened, as bad as it is. So that's just kind of how I feel about that. Although it sucks for us as fans, I think they have to do it to protect the players, and I think a lot of people didn't like that. Like, they kept showing the tour replay over and over and over again, and I think it was vital that they did that, because I think people need to know how violent the sport can be and what people are getting themselves into. I wish I had the name of this doctor, but there was I think a neuro type doctor or whatever. He said, like, for the linemen, like, every time they line up, every play is like getting into a car crash. As far as what happens to their head, I'm like, you never really think about it, especially as a fan watching it. But I think it's important that people are aware of how dangerous the sport of football is.
I think if they're gonna hold him out regardless, then what's the point of giving them the concussion test? If you're gonna hold him out regardless,
I guess to see how severe it is or what they can do for it now or whatever. But
yeah, see, like that's what I'm saying. Like let's say it's in a big game, like let's say it's Super Bowl, and like the Bills are in the Super Bowl. Josh Allen takes a big hit and he gets up slowly, blah blah blah. He goes down the rest of the game, even though he doesn't have a concussion. People are going to be pissed off because he's the best player on their team and he's vital. And if the Bills go on to lose that Super Bowl, fans forever will say, oh, if it wasn't for that stupid rule the NFL had where the players can have to sit out even if they don't have a concussion, we would have won that Super Bowl. Like, I think you're going to eventually run into those arguments because, like, we saw it with Joe Burrow last year. He would take sacks and get up slowly because they probably hurt like crap. But that does not mean he has a concussion and has to go into concussion protocol. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I think the Tua situation is a little different though, and I just think in general, like, I don't think we can make that assumption until the NFL fixes their concussion protocol. I don't think it's in the players' best interest to automatically throw them back in the game, even if they get cleared of a concussion protocol, because from what we've seen, the NFL, their tests are not valid enough to be able to go off of that. So that's kind of, I got to agree with Destin on this. Like, I don't think it's in the best interest of the players to just automatically throw a player back in the game just for the heck of it, for the fans' sake, because more than football, I think these players' lives, I think that's the most important thing. I know everybody in America takes football really seriously, but the well-being of all the players is in the best interest of everybody at the end of the day here on TRD. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I'm not saying that by any means. Like, if a player is showing any signs, even if it's slight, that he might have a concussion, then yeah, you got to sit him out because you don't want to risk putting him back in there and having serious injury like we saw with Tua. So the NFL is trying to learn from this, I guess. But I'm like assuming on the side of if they legit pass a concussion test and do not have it, like Teddy Bridgewater did on Sunday, like he literally just took a big hit and got up slowly, like quarterbacks have done for decades. And he just had to sit out the rest of the game just because of this whole Tua thing that's been going on. And the NFL is trying to cover their tracks, like trying to make it seem like, oh, we're extremely safe now, even though we almost got a guy killed because of our third party rep that did his concussion test. Like, but I promise y'all, we're really safe now. We're making the players sit out regardless.
But yeah,
bro,
Tua,
but the thing about it is the test isn't really valid. Like,
So why are we taking? Yeah, they got to fix the whole protocol.
It's better than nothing, but it's not. You can't put them out there if they pass the test because there's been countless stories. Hold on. We can wait. Say what you're about to say. Go ahead. Ask it again. They can hear you.
Like, if we can't 100% know if the player doesn't have it or not, then we should just automatically just say that, leave it at that until you go further.
I think the test can probably provide the doctors with information that we wouldn't even know how to interpret, but they should be out because there's been countless stories. You guys can look it up of players passing tests and being able to answer questions because the questions aren't hard to answer. And like Emmanuel Acho said, he didn't know where his house was. Like he passed the protocol and he went to drive home and he didn't know which house was his. There's stories like this.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So like we don't know a lot about the brain, something we still learn about every day. And as far as like when it comes to possible brain damage and brain trauma, which can last players for the rest of their lives, always err on the side of caution. I was thinking about this the other day and I was like, dude, if Tua was my son or my dad or my brother, I would be wanting him to lean towards retirement just out of the protection of him. And I don't know, that's just kind of personally how I would feel for him or feel for that situation is I don't want to see anyone.
You know, we've seen this situation before, even though he didn't suffer as serious of a concussion or injury like Tua did. But Andrew Luck did this exact thing. He had a very short career. He had multiple concussions. He was just constantly getting hit and taking all these hits that just could have – where obviously he felt in his brain that it was affecting him more than it should be this early in his career. And so he decided to step away early. And like, obviously we haven't really heard much from that side of the story just because Andrew Luck's such a quiet guy. And the way that he stepped away, he didn't really make a big deal about it. But Tua is kind of like, it kind of reminds me of this Andrew Luck situation about how much Tua has hit or gotten hit early in his career. Same with Joe Burrow. Like they both have taken some serious hits so far in their career, and they're only in year 3. And with Tua and this serious concussion injury he had, I mean, I would not be mad at Tua if he did decide to step away from the game, obviously, because he's doing what's best for him. But I just brought up the rule the NFL made just because from the logic standpoint of if the player is good to go, he just took a big hit. Like, why you got to make him sit out the rest of the game? But I mean, I do understand the err on the side of caution argument side too.
Yeah, and I get yours too. It's just complicated.
Yeah. What we got next, boys?
Yeah. So how many matchups have we covered so far?
I think we did like 6.
We straight, bro.
Something like
we
that.
straight on the matchups.
Yeah. So we got our predictions in, and then last but not least, you know, NBA season is creeping up on us. I know we got it. You know, when we started off this pod, it was right near the end of last season, the NBA, right in that playoff time range. So NBA, even though we're in the midst of football season, NBA is starting to creep up on us. And we've had some big headlines this past week, especially coming out with Destin's Warriors, with Draymond Green himself and with Poole Party, Jordan Poole. Apparently there was a scuffle. Somebody happened to be taking a video of the practice footage, and it got leaked, and it showed Draymond punching Draymond Green in the face, and he gave him that 1-2 combo like he was a professional MMA fighter. But yeah, I mean, a lot went down with that. What were some takeaways you guys had from that whole situation and everything that's kind of transpired since
Who wants to start this? Because there's a lot here. Like
I'll go ahead and say, I heard from Twitter sources that Jordan Poole had said he called Draymond Green a triple single, and Draymond couldn't deal with it, so he decided to punch his teammate in the face. He's kind of considered a sucker punch just because Jordan Poole was just probably not expecting it to go that far. But I mean, obviously the video gets leaked. You know, somehow TMZ gets their hands on it and puts it out to the internet like they usually do. And we got to see how the whole situation unfolded. So, I mean, obviously this situation with Draymond and Jordan Poole is not good for the chemistry of the locker room, but I think it's just turned into a meme, man. Because I mean, it's funny to me that the two major stories so far in the NBA offseason have involved Destin's Warriors and my Celtics with Ime Udoka in his situation. So, I mean, it's just like drama, man, before the season even started. It's like a meme at this point.
Yeah, I mean, y'all know when it comes to the Warriors, I love them so much that I'm pessimistic because I don't want to get my hopes too high. And with this happening, I don't think Draymond's gonna be a Warrior past this year. I think we're gonna have to pick between Draymond and Jordan Poole, and we have to go with the youth. I don't know how valuable Draymond will be on the market. I just seen a report today that Jordan Poole's still not over it, so that's not good. I had hopes of us going back to back. I think that is. I don't think we can win a championship anymore this year because of the locker room. And I think that this is just Draymond being Draymond. I mean, for some reason, Draymond thinks that it's okay for him to go over the line because the Warriors, we do find it valuable what he brings in terms of his edge and the character and the feistiness he brings to us. But he doesn't understand that you don't have to cross the line, bro. There's somewhere where you need to stop. It's 2016. Some people think we would have won that championship, and he cost us that one by he kept hitting people in their private area over and over and over again. Finally got suspended. Cost us the championship in some people's eyes. And then 2019, Kevin Durant. You got to know that Kevin Durant's the most sensitive person on the entire face of the earth. So anything you say to him is going to make him want to quit and give up and run away. So he sent Kevin to run away, and I think he's destroying our dynasty as we speak. So this is just a sad day. It's sad times in Golden State in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that's a good point with the Kevin Durant situation because, I mean, if Draymond did get in that scuffle with Kevin Durant during late in the season before him and Klay Thompson went out for that finals, Warriors might still be dominating to this day with KD on the team. And we all know how Kevin Durant is. He gets on Twitter and he's making three different burner accounts, and any and everything that you say to Kevin Durant, any type of slander in any shape or form, he's going to take offense to it. So in a sense, Draymond saying what he said in that huddle during the regular season game, I feel like did have a really big impact on KD leaving. Now there might be more to the story than what we know in the public eye, but yeah, this is, I mean, for a guy that's a 33, 34-year-old vet in the league, I mean, it's not the smartest thing to go around and punch your teammates like that. And then, of course, with it blowing up the way it has, that doesn't help the situation either. He's not Michael Jordan. You can't, you're not the guy on that team, so you don't have the authority or you don't have the right to be punching teammates like that. MJ, there were stories back in the past where he used to hit teammates and stuff and get on to teammates, but Draymond, he's not the glue to this team. It's more so Steph and Klay Thompson. But yeah, I agree with Destin on this. I think this could potentially be detrimental. There's been rumors that Draymond might go to another team. He's, I've heard rumors of him wanting to go to the Lakers. I pray to God that doesn't happen, but we'll have to wait and see with that. But, a bit of turmoil going on in Golden State right now.
Yeah. I mean, Draymond's doing what Draymond does. I think it's time for him to let him go. He didn't deserve a max anyway, so it's time for Dre to get out of there. Poole is the more younger guy. He got more things that he can improve on. Draymond maxed out. Draymond can't do anything better. He can't play better defense. He's not going to become a better shooter. Can't become a better ball handler. It's nothing that he can provide more to that he's already done. So I think his time is going to be done after this season. Which I thought that before this happened. I just think now it just makes it look worse. I mean, you pick on Jordan Poole, one of the smaller guys on the team. Draymond's a smart guy. If that was Steph, I don't know what Poole said to him. We don't know for sure what he said. Whatever he said, if Steph Curry or Clay would have said it, he wouldn't have done that. So what that shows me is that he doesn't fully respect Poole as a man, number one, and number two, teammate. So I think that it's just overall it's time to get out of there.
Bro, you just spoke facts, bro.
I mean, yeah, he doesn't. I mean, when you punch a guy like Draymond tried to knock this man out.
He might have.
I think Jordan Poole did get knocked out.
I mean, literally, if that wall wasn't right there, Jordan Poole would have been laid all the way flat. If that wall wasn't, the only thing that supported Poole at all was that wall. He tried to knock the man out. So to me, that shows he don't have no respect for Poole. And you know, as I know Des remember that clip where Poole and Wiggins was like, they're about to get the bag. And I know he's not getting the bag. It's gonna be Draymond Green. Draymond Green's gotta get out of there. Only guy's giving it Lakers. And that's nobody else to pay because nobody else wants to join the Lakers. So if he wants the bag, he needs to go. Maybe the Sacramento just find a team that throw money his way because that's ridiculous. Draymond is over here thinking that he's a max player. He's not a max guy, number one. He needs to know he's important to the team to a certain extent. Like he has to understand he's not Steph Curry, he's not Klay Thompson. He's not that important to go to state the way he can be around punching guys and think he's gonna get away with it. No.
Yeah, I think if Draymond is looking for a place where he can get a max contract, hit up the New York Knicks because they're willing to pay any and everybody $200+ million. You know, we just saw him give a bag to Jalen Brunson, who's an unproven second option. You know, he had one. They did
that. They did that to Kemba Walker the year before.
No, Jalen can hoop though. Tweaking. Jalen can hoop.
Yeah, he's good. I wouldn't say he's max contract worthy though, like the money he got paid. But if Draymond wants to get a bag, hit up New York Knicks. They're notorious for that.
I was about to say if the Lakers give this man Draymond a max contract, it's going to end up being another Luol Deng situation where they're paying this man 4 or 5 years after he's off the roster.
Draymond. The thing about Draymond is I don't know. Like he's most valuable as a player in Golden State. So I don't know. He's not worth the max anywhere else, and he's not even really worth the max in Golden State. But if he was to get one, it would be in Golden State. But like what he brings is so unique and it fits so perfectly with what we have going on that I don't know how much he'd be worth on the market. Like, and I mean, he can bring a lot of things to a lot of different teams, but is it worth that much? I don't know.
Well, I just think based off the groundwork we've seen from his career, somebody would be willing to give him a max contract deal just because of what we've seen with unproven players getting max contract deals. So
he's gonna be old though. That's crazy. There's no way he gets a max.
I know that. I don't agree with it. I don't think he's worthy of a max contract, but I have a feeling one of these teams, whether it's the Knicks or whether it's the Sacramento Kings, somebody's going to be desperate enough to reach and to give him a max contract. I feel like.
What is he going to do on the Kings? He can't do anything.
Nothing.
Just wasting money. It's just giving money to him.
Hey, that's what the Kings are known for, though.
Yeah.
That's
it's real championship aspirations. I'll tell you that right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like what Destin said is true. Like the only team that he's even might be worth a max extension on is the Warriors, just because of how he's used. But like, there's no way in my mind that I can picture a team being dumb enough to be like, oh yeah, we got to go get Draymond Green. We got to give this man the max contract, build around this man in the draft. Like, no, what can he do besides play defense and rebound?
That's it. He's really going.
Yeah, I think if Draymond's if he's dumb enough to try to go after a max contract, he's making. I think if Draymond's dumb enough to go after a max contract, I think he's making the same mistake that Kevin Durant made leaving the Warriors. I think you're leaving a perfect situation to just go chase money or, just to leave the responsibility behind that you had with the Warriors. I think right now the Warriors are the best fit for Draymond Green. And it was the same case with Kevin Durant. And if Draymond winds up leaving the Warriors, I think that's going to be the start of his decline in his career, honestly.
Here's my question to y'all. Do y'all think this affects our title chances this year? Like I do?
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be as significant as you're saying, like already, because season hasn't even started. So eventually, I think if they can figure this out, it's a long season in the NBA. I think if they can figure this out, Steph is still Steph, and they got Clay back the second year off an injury. Jordan Poole will be probably more motivated as ever to prove that he deserves a max extension. So I think the Warriors will be fine. The East is way more stacked than the West is. So I think the Warriors will be fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's as detrimental as you might think it is, Destin. Obviously there's going to be some chaos in the locker room maybe, but you get James Wiseman back. You still got the best shooter in all of the NBA, Klay Thompson, of course, Andrew Wiggins. They've got all their big pieces from last year's championship are still on that team. And even though he doesn't have a great relationship with Jordan Poole anymore, I still think, the Warriors are still one of the favorites in the Western Conference, in my opinion. So,
yeah, they're definitely still, in contend. I don't trust the Clippers. I don't trust the Mavericks. I don't trust the Jazz. They definitely still, they can still win it. It's hard to win back-to-back championships, anyways. I still think Boston can end up still winning it. I think Boston can deal with not having Udoka more than anything. I don't think Boston's really gonna drop off all that much. I'm liking Jaylen Brown improvement. He's improving his game even more. Jaylen Brown is gonna be the guy. But yeah, I think he'll be top 2 or 3 seed. They're a team that I just trust in the West. It's a lot of teams in the West that's unproven.
We got to deal with their Celtics agenda all year, and I'm not ready for it, bro.
Yeah, damn.
I'm here for it, bro. I'm here for it. We're ready now. We got a taste of what it's like to get there. Now we want to win one.
Yeah.
And people forget. I know odds don't really mean anything, but before Udoka's situation goes down, the Celtics were the favorite or the odds-on favorite to win this year's championship. But Jaylen brought up Jaylen Brown's improvement. I think bringing in Malcolm Brogdon is huge for us. If we can just stay healthy, I think is the biggest thing for us between Robert Williams and Marcus Smart, because he'll occasionally have like an ankle or something like that just because of how much he's getting involved with loose balls. But we'll see. But the East is just so stacked this year, man. The West has got a couple teams that'll be good just because people are coming off injuries. But the Jazz, they're in rebuild mode now. They got rid of Donovan Mitchell. Like they're done for. The only teams that could even compete with the Warriors in the West is the Clippers and the Nuggets.
Yeah, I'm still I'm sleeping on the Celtics this year.
Of course you are. Of course you are, Lakers fan. Of course you are.
Yeah, it's the coaching situation. I think their head coach had a big part in, drawing up great schemes. Robert Williams, from what I've heard this offseason, is having a lot of knee issues, and he might not even be back to start the season for the Celtics as well. So those are 2 big losses for the Celtics. Not only Robert Williams, we know how big of a piece he was to that playoff run, but also you lose your head coach who was the grand mind behind the schemes that the Celtics ran with the defensive schemes and all that. So the Celtics will still be a top 3, 4, 5 seed in the East, but I don't see them as big as a threat as they were last year. And plus, I know it's easy to forget, but the Bucks have Chris Middleton back. So as long as the Bucks have Chris Middleton back,
give me 4.
The Bucks are the team to beat. The Bucks are the team to beat in the East this year.
To say, but give me 4 teams that's on the Boston's level right now, outside of Milwaukee.
Why can't he include Milwaukee?
No, because we all agree on that. Like Milwaukee being the favorites, I can agree with that. I can see that. But outside of that, who else in the East is better than Boston? Like, unlike even close right now.
Well, I mean, from what we've
Roster-wise.
seen right now, Boston's the second best team from the groundwork, but they lose Robert Williams for part of the season this year because of knee injury. So I think that had a big impact on them in the playoffs, and I think it might be a bit of a hit for them. I'm not saying Boston's not going to be a contender. They're going to be a contender, but with them losing their head coach and him being suspended for a year, and then the question marks behind Robert Williams as well at that center position, it raises a lot of questions. That's all I'm saying.
So Brooklyn, I'm not saying these teams. I'm naming who he has to be thinking about. I'm naming who he has to be thinking. He's got to be Brooklyn, Philly, with the Montrezl Harrell, Tucker, the guys they added. Who then? The Cavs with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Mobley.
You can't forget about the Heat too. They're always a tough out.
Yeah, I don't.
Nah,
no, but to answer Jalen's question though, like from the groundwork we've seen up to this season, the Celtics are the second best team in the league. But what I'm taking into account is their coach is suspended this year, and their starting center is having a lot of issues with his knee, and so I think that's going to be a bit of a problem for him. They don't have a certified center.
Wait, so you think that the Celtics are better than the Bucks or not? Because you said second. You mean second in the East or?
Well, yeah, up to this point, they're the second best team in the East with all their pieces healthy, but with the coach being suspended and with the injury to Robert Williams, I think that's going to take a bit of a hit. But I don't think dropping a few spots in the playoffs is really going to do that much. As long as Robert Williams is able to get back healthy for the Celtics, they'll be contending they'll be contending in the Eastern Conference. That's all.
Yeah, I mean that's why the Celtics are dealing with Robert Williams' knee now instead of later on in the year, because I mean I think it's like a 6-week recovery at minimum for that, and like once he starts that, I mean, if he can get that done early in the year, we'll have him back in plenty of time to make a run to get back in a higher seed for the playoffs, because I mean he is very vital to the team. But I think the coaching situation is going to be better than people think. I mean, because yes, Ime Udoka is a great coach, and he obviously made the finals in his first season as a coach. But people forget that Brad Stevens is still running that team, and he was the coach of the Celtics for years, and they were always contenders with him as coaching. So I mean, Brad Stevens has made good decision after good decision with that team. So I trust him to put the right guy in the spot to still lead this team in the right direction.
So y'all don't have a coach yet?
We have an interim that's like it hasn't been officially named, but it's what's probably going to end up being. But I mean, we'll see how that pans out. But I'm not worried about Brooklyn just because I mean we swept them last year, so I'm not worried about them. The only teams that I'd worry about in the East is Milwaukee. I think the Celtics are going to be able to handle the Heat better than they did last year, but I think the only team I could be worried about as a Celtics fan is the Bucks in the East.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen with Brooklyn, I mean, I know they get Ben Simmons back, but I saw a clip today of Ben Simmons airballing a 5-foot jumper right by the Brooklyn Bridge. They were having some fan meet up, and he airballed like an 8-foot jumper, and then he proceeded to act like nothing happened and nobody saw it, but it got caught on video. So I'm not too worried about the Nets going into this year. Kevin Durant's unproven without the Warriors, so we know how that sport's going to end out.
I wish we had a Kevin Durant defender on the show, but I mean, I like Kevin Durant more than y'all. I think I do like KD a little bit more than y'all, but I'm a Steph guy. Go ahead.
As we get our friend Andrew featured on here, I don't think nobody about to defend KD at this point. There's nothing to defend. It's ridiculous at this point.
I was about to say one of my buddies is like the hardest Kevin stan, but he's not on the show, so
we should put this part on Twitter and KD tweet us.
Hey,
he probably would.
I guarantee you he would be on his burner account in less than 3 seconds after we posted the tweet.
He's gotten to the point where he doesn't even care. He'll just do it on his will account. He don't even care anymore. It's gotten that.
You know what? I do respect that, because I like when the athletes speak their mind and like they'll let some stuff fly. I feel like that's dope. Like that he's about tweeting about stuff. I find that to be like interesting and engaging and unique. And I think he's made it cool for athletes to start tweeting like about like themselves and stuff that's going on. So I do like that aspect about it. So
No, but Damian Lillard does it too on his personal account. He's been doing it for years. He's been doing it longer than Kevin Durant. Like he'll just reply to a hater through his personal Twitter, and he's been doing that for as long as I can remember keeping up with him.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
dang.
I just don't know why. I don't know why people are still so hype on the Nets, man. This been what, three? This is what, their third season with all this stuff they brought in. They've done nothing.
I think this is the make or break year for them, right? Let's see what they look like being on the court, Kyrie playing, and KD. One thing I'm worried about them is they're gonna get hurt, dude. Like KD or Kyrie is gonna be hurt. Kyrie was healthy in the playoffs. He didn't have to play the whole season. I don't think he just doesn't hold up. So I hope they can stay healthy. Hope we can finally see them.
The Celtics literally swept them with the draft picks that the Nets traded to Boston and swept them.
Yeah, I think Kyrie probably made the biggest mistake of his career. Well, I think the Nets. I mean, they're going to have to trade Kyrie anyway because it's going to fall out after this year, and I think Kyrie's going to regret not being on the Lakers to start this year. So, tough scene for Kyrie, man. Hate to see him in that type of situation and not having an opportunity to win a ring with my Lakers. But, it is what it is.
You go trying to make a super team, bro. I cannot stand all this super team crap, bro. Stay where you are, man. Don't go over there trying to help LeBron and save LeBron's legacy now. I mean, not save his legacy. Not save his legacy. Not save his legacy. We say it again, JP.
That's not like Golden State run didn't get hit by y'all getting KD. That made it much easier for y'all.
Yeah, but I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want KD to come.
But you didn't complain when it happened, though.
I was a big proponent of I don't want KD here. This is boring. I wanted because Steph would be in the GOAT conversation if KD would have never came to Golden State.
Already fighting for top 5 or 6 right now.
No. He would be in the MJ LeBron conversation if Kevin Durant never came to Golden State.
I'm not sure. I disagree because I think Braun gets one of those wins if KD never joins. Braun would have got y'all one of them years, but Braun was fighting with y'all, man. It just KD just he just killed it. Like it was no chance at that point.
Yeah, I can't lie. JP spitting facts with the super team and the Warriors, man. I mean, y'all. If we're talking super teams, the Warriors they abused that to the highest extent, getting Kevin Durant when they already had a 73-9 team the year before he came there. So
I didn't want Kevin Durant.
JP's preaching right now.
You got to still mention it.
But y'all be the same guys. These LeBron fans are the same guys that hate when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors, but then they wanted Kawhi, LeBron, Anthony Davis, all the team up in LA, and then they're gonna sit back and act like you gotta be consistent, bro.
No, hold on. Let me reiterate.
You're gonna take it. Nobody's gonna just decline Kawhi, or y'all not gonna decline KD. Of course, you didn't ask for it, but when it happens, you're not gonna. We don't want it. Of course, you're gonna take it if it's a great player, you go take him. If he wants to go there.
And let me just reiterate, I'm not a LeBron guy. I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm not a LeBron guy. So don't categorize me with LeBron.
Fair enough.
He's a Kobe guy. He's one of those.
I'm a Kobe guy.
He's one of those.
For life.
He's a Tatum fan.
Yeah, I'm a Tatum guy. No. I'm a Bird guy is what I really am.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up though. We appreciate anybody who made it this far into the episode. We love y'all. We appreciate all the support. Everybody who's listening in. Love you guys to death, man, and had a fun time recording this episode. And make sure to come back and tune in next week. We'll be putting out more content, and love y'all.
Y'all know I love y'all. Share with your mama, brother, sister. Send it out to everybody. Stay up, stay blessed, and we are out.